Albert Einstein once said, and I quote, "The whole of science is nothing more than a refinement of everyday thinking." A very warm welcome to our keynote speaker, Dr. Asha Srinivasan, the esteemed panelist, faculty members, fellow Christites, and the audience who has joined us from far and wide. I am Anjali Subhash, and it is my privilege to be the moderator for the session. Daksh is an annual education and career guidance fair organized by the Student Council of Christ, deemed to be university. It focuses on various opportunities made available to the pre-university, undergraduate, and postgraduate students. The platform enables students to acquire knowledge and make informed choices regarding their higher education and careers. Career Dialogue is a distinctive feature of Daksh, wherein eminent and established figures from diverse fields are invited to share their invaluable experiences, accompanied with their expert opinion about the future prospects lying ahead for students wishing to pursue a career in these fields. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce our speaker for the session, Dr. Asha Srinivasan, who will be gracing this occasion with her insights on what is a successful career in science. Dr. Asha Srinivasan completed her MS and PhD from Bradford University, UK, and her postdoctoral studies from Thomas Jefferson University, Philadelphia, USA. She currently serves as an associate professor for Nano Sciences and also a faculty of life sciences and Center of Excellence in Molecular Biology and Regenerative Medicines at JSS Academy of Higher Education and Research. Ma'am is also a coordinator for Nano Science and Technology at JSS University, Mysore. Her area of research is synthesis and characterization of nanoparticles and delivery of cancer nanomedicine. Dr. Asha has secured several awards, more than 15 publications, and many scientific talks and presentations. She's also a member of the Animal Ethical Committee and the member secretary of Biosafety Committee. Ma'am is also an assistant editor at International Journal of Allied Health Sciences and a member of the International Student Cell. We are very excited to hear from you. Before I hand it over to you, ma'am, I would like to point out for the benefit of the audience that any question for the speaker can be posted in the comments section of the YouTube live stream, and it will be answered at the end of the talk. Also, a note for all the Christites. A Google form would be put up in the comments section for attendance and a feedback form for all the audience to fill. Without further ado, I humbly request you, ma'am, to begin with the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Anjali. Thank you, Christ and Daksh, for organizing this event and inviting me as a keynote speaker for this. So there's a little, I can also take up questions in between because sometimes students may forget to ask at the end. So I can also take up questions in between if you have, so if you feel free to ask if you have any questions in between while I am talking. So I'm going to share the screen, a set of slides now, which I have prepared. And before I actually start with my talk, so I'm sure all of you must be already in a science field. So you'll understand, you would have already understood what science is all about. And before moving on with my talk, so what I'm going to tell is, so let me go to the slideshow mode. Okay. Right. So most of us are at this stage right now. So most of us, even I was also once upon a time when I was a student, I was also at this stage. So we'll be thinking what to do, when to do, what to study, what not to study, and we'll be bombarded with so many questions. And you'll be discussing with your friends also, and they'll also be kind of confusing you. And on top of this, your parents will be telling that you have to study this. Some of the parents will be telling to aspire. They'll tell that, okay, don't do this, do medicine, do this, do that. There'll be lots of questions on all of things. We have seen all of these things during our school days. I have, luckily, I didn't have so much of questions because I had, my parents actually told that you can pursue whatever interests you. So there are very few parents who will actually tell that you can do whatever interests you. So that is one of the plus point. So it is good. Do what interests you is the important thing. in life. Okay, otherwise you pick up one study and you'll not at all be interested in that, and you are compelled to read that one, compelled to study that one. That's not going to work. Okay, because one good example what I would like to say is, when you get into a career, when you get into a job, 80%, if not 60 to 80% of your life goes into a job. You're spending time you come every day at 10 o'clock and finish work and go home, or if you're in a research career, you probably spend more time. So whatever you have to, so that's 80, that constitutes about 80% of your life. What you do next 20% is your family, friends, and all those, your close friends, your family, your relative, etc., etc. So if you are miserable in that 80%, then your entire life is miserable, right? So you have to make that balance. You have to very, very carefully make that balance to see what really suits you and what is that you want to. There is a lot of difference between desiring something and aspiring something. So what you need to do here is to aspire. So what you want to become tomorrow is really a decision which you have to do today, right? So I wanted this academic research career right from my second PUC days. So I was very focused on getting into that, because during my second PUC days, I was doing a research dissertation project during that. Out of interest, I was doing. So that time we had very little facilities also. Unlike today, we have lots of facilities. So during those times, so that is a time when I actually thought, okay, this is very exciting, because this research field actually gives you more insights into what you can do and what you want to do. Something it is like thinking out of the box, not something that you do routinely. So this is something which you think out of the box, and this is how I aspired that one. And today I have a research. I have a research lab, and I have research students who are working under my guidance. Okay, even just an hour ago, I had one pre-PhD viva, and the student did wonderfully great. So this is how a research career actually builds into. So what I want to focus on today's talk is that whether you want to do, I was told that there is already BSc or MSc students. So if it is BSc students, make your choice that what you want to do. And if it is MSc students, make your choice of what you want to do after MSc. Do you want to take higher studies, or you want to go into industry, or you want into or into a research scientist, whichever position is that. So when you are making that choice, so this is a career pathway choice is completely yours. So it's a personal journey. So later on, you're not, there's nobody to blame for it. Okay, so you cannot say that, oh yeah, I wanted to do this, but it didn't work out. So there is nobody to blame. You get into something and you kind of regret that, oh, I didn't want to do this. There's nobody to blame for it. So it is completely a personal journey. It is you who decides what to do. So going ahead, see why you want to study something in science. So since you're already in science, so you already made your choice that you want to do so you want to have something related to science career. Okay, so this is a subject which will give you, where there is limitless opportunities, where you can actually choose what you want to become. There are innumerable opportunities when you choose a science subject. So there is curiosity there is understanding life at elementary level. You want to know why certain things are happening. Or you have something called as independent thinking. What makes you think? No, independent thinking is very important. Most of the time I see students, they have taken a particular course because their friend has taken. That is no good. That's not going to help. Okay, so you need to have independent thinking. So it encourages ideas and subjects. So that I had one of my student who, while doing his MSc, he was very clear that he wanted to have his own company. So today he has its own, he owns a company in Noida. So like this, if you have a clear cut clarity of idea what you want to exactly do, so that will be very helpful for you want to. By now you should have actually streamlined. By now you should already have an idea that this is the way you want to take your career forward. If it is not, you please make your choice today. You please think about it, sit and contemplate on it. So what is that you want to do in next 2 years of time. So MSc, I would assume that you have just started your MSc now. So I'd assume you have two semesters to go ahead, and you please make your choice right now if you want to do a career in research or a career in industry, or whichever way is it, please work for it. So when I made my choice in second PUC that I wanted to be an academic research career, I had started to do my groundwork in that one itself. So what I wanted since then, since second PUC itself, I started publishing papers. Right? If you want into a career research, if you want a research career, you have to have a lot of publications. You have to have a lot of grants. You have to have independent thinking. You're thinking, you should be thinking out of the box. That is what you should. I'm sure most of the students today, what I see here, they have wonderful thinking capabilities. Okay, you have lots of facilities now, so you have to really start thinking that what is that you want to do as of now, right? So there are, as I said, there are several career choices which you can make. Idea generation. So product development is one of the thing you have. You can start. You you visualize a thing. You imagine a product, and you visualize that, and you figure out how to do it. So right now, what we are trying to do is we have a lot of product developments going on. We also started one company of which I'm also one of the directors of that, and I'm also a principal consultant of one of the companies which is already a private company in Mysore. So what we do as principal consultant or a director of the company has various roles. Let me not talk about director of the company. As a principal consultant of the company, what we do is we do idea generation. What is meant by idea generation? So today we know, so this is in consultation with clinicians. We have several clinicians on board. So we talk to them to see what is the present scenario, what is the present world needs. For example, we see that a lot of there are new diseases which are coming around. Coronavirus, for example, is a new disease. We are still processing how the vaccines are really going to work. So like this, what we do at a consultant level is we have an idea, we generate an idea based on what the clinician actually, we discuss a lot and we come up with an idea. And we try to see how that idea transforms or translates into a product. And that product is launched in the market. And it is not easy as I have drawn there. It is not so easy to just launch a product. It requires a lot of dedication, a lot of commitment, and a lot of effort goes into it to develop a product. So today we have one small product which is kind of in the market. We have developed a antiviral mask, particularly for this coronavirus thing. We have developed a product and we have already launched in the market. So this was over a period of 1 year. So that is a simple product. Okay, there are so many other people who are making masks as well. So that is a simple example what I'm telling. But if it is something let us say for pulmonary cancer, for example, lung cancer for that matter, and we are developing something. So I already have a patent, US patent on developing a particular molecule which realistically goes and targets the lung cancer cells. So like that, so that has taken really about 5 years now. That has taken more than 5 years for the product to get launched into the market. So like this, so it is not idea generation happens at this level. So like this, even students come up with several ideas. I have my students who come up with several ideas. They read something and they see if the same thing can be done in a different molecule or different product. So that is how they are coming into. That is how we are trying to visualize. That's how we try to visualize the product. Visualize the idea. Visualizing the idea is very important before you actually develop into a product. So that is how R&D comes into picture. So you can see that after idea generation, we have an R&D. So this R&D is an example of entrepreneurship. So that is where you start your own startup company today. And today there's a lot of opportunities for startup companies. So that is how entrepreneurship develops. So to do all these things, what is required is reading and thinking. So you have to keep abreast with all the technologies, all the innovations happening around you, or at least in India, at least, so that you can come up with a product, something new. When you're innovating, you are innovating something new, not the same old thing which is just innovate. It's not like that. When you are innovating something, you have to innovate really something new. And why we have to innovate things? To ameliorate, to overcome the problems of malnutrition, to overcome the problems of food shortage. So that is how we do a lot of innovations. That is how a lot of things have been. That is how a lot of the things have been happening in the research world. So if you are thinking at a research career, or if you are thinking at that you want to pursue as a project assistant or a JRF or a SRF, or completely to a research associate, or you go into an industry as a formulation scientist or a scientist by itself, you need to start thinking, you need to start working on that. If you want to go into an industry wherein you are working for the industry, then you need to read the goals of that industry, what they are trying to do, what is that product, what is their product development, what is that coming out of that industry. All those things you need to do. All those things you need to do. So do a homework of all the companies or all the industries where you're actually where you're interested to go into. A while ago, when I was a student, I was also thinking that I should go into Novo Nordisk. Novo Nordisk is a big pharmaceutical company. Okay, there have been several times I have been rejected from the company. That's different. That's a completely different thing. So first thing is to attempt. You get rejected, that's a different issue. Okay, so I was very much interested to get into R&D of Novo Nordisk. So that didn't happen. So always it is good to have a backup career choice. So you keep one thing. So this is what you want to do. You want a research career. You keep that in mind, but always have a backup. You want research independent career, research career which is independent, like the way I am, like academic research career. Yes, you have independence to do any research what you want. Or if you want to work for a company, so that is where you have to read the goals of that company and what is that they want to actually do. Right. So let's go into the way it works. Right. So when I was a student, when I was doing my second PUC or BSc, so there were universities which were offering some of these subjects. Okay. So you can see that mathematics, physics, microbiology. So everybody during that time wanted to study PCMB because they felt that is the highest degree they could get. So I studied biochemistry. So now it's not a different story from what is happening, but today you have several combinations. But during my time, we never had so many combinations. Only thing we had is PCMB or PCMC or some very, very few combinations. So either it was all, I think, triple major. It was all triple major. Now I think it is single major. Single major is the subject where you only study one subject during your BSc. Or triple major is you have three subjects, which most of the students actually do. Right. So I studied biochemistry during that time. But the trend now is, so these are all, I'm not saying this is, you should not study this one, but I'm not also saying that these subjects have kind of lost the impact. No, that is not the point what I'm trying to make here. So these are the subjects which are pure science, but you need to start thinking a bit more into the trend what the industry is looking at. So today, most of the industries want applied sciences. Okay, so you want to be able to apply something directly into it. That is what the applied sciences are. So today you can see there are several combinations in the several universities like artificial intelligence, agricultural sciences, nanoscience and nanotechnology, cosmetic science. 3D bioprinting is very much so. One of our projects which we are doing is on 3D bioprinting. Then you have polymer science, you have geoinformatics, how you can combine geoinformatics with nanotechnology. Geoinformatics and agricultural sciences are there. Biomedical engineering. Biomedical engineering is a very upcoming field to develop new prostheses or artificial retina. So all these things are biomedical engineering. Biomimetics. So I'll be going in a couple of slides from now. I'll be telling you in detail what all these things, what all these subjects are, what all these subjects can actually do. Let's look into job opportunities. So when you are taking up any of these subjects, the important thing what you want to know is job opportunity. Because today I see most of the parents who come here, they talk to me and they say, well, what is the job opportunity for this? They have, parents are equally inquisitive as to what the student or what their child is studying. So which is obvious, which we clearly understand. As teachers, we clearly understand what is that parents are actually looking for. So if you were to look, if your parents, I'm sure your parents must have also come to visited with you along with to several universities to see what is that you want to really study. So first question they ask is, what are the job opportunities? So each of these, so as a teacher, as my, it's a prime role of my, it's my duty to tell what is that opportunity we can offer for, right? The way the parent is actually really worried about the job opportunities after studying a particular course, the same intensity of worry is for us also, because we don't want to be doing a studies, we don't want to be starting a new course which is kind of not giving any job opportunities at all. So we are also equally interested to see what is the job opportunity, what is that you can actually give for the candidate after the candidate finishes the masters, or if it is higher studies, if the candidate finishes BSc and want to pursue some higher studies, again we have to tell them what is the job opportunities, what is that the candidate can pursue. But important thing is you have to make your own choice. So, right? We can only guide you for it, and we cannot compel you to study. Okay, I want you to study analytical science. You should study polymer science. Is none of we are not we are not allowed to tell that one. But what we do is we give you clear guidance of whatever is there, whatever you want to know, we give you a clear guidance. Okay, so that is how then you make a choice. You sit, you make a choice. You see what is the industry today, what is the industry, what is that the industries are looking for today, and what is that they want to actually what you have to align your thoughts into in those lines to see how your what you are studying will align with what the industry actually wants. Okay, so this is how a career we as teachers do a career guidance for students also. In addition to that, we do several campus interviews. Most of the institutes are also doing campus interviews to VC, and we actually guide students. We know how to face an interview, how to make a good CV, how to make. If your CV is not good, trust me, it will just not be anywhere in that list because the competition is very high. The competition what we had during our times is completely different from what you have now. The competition is actually double 10 times more, so you need to be abreast of everything. You need to have that shrewdness, that sharpness, and understanding something called as lateral thinking capabilities, right? One example, then simple example what I can give for lateral thinking capabilities is one simple example that see most of the I have studied in UK, so I know how it works. They are actually very focused in what they want. Okay, so they'll not have any deviation in the other parts. For example, if you tell them 2 plus 2 is 4, that is what if in the class if they teach that 2 plus 2 is 4, that is what they follow, right? But we have capabilities, students must have these capabilities to think that even 3 plus 4 3 plus 1 is also 4. So that is how you develop your lateral thinking capabilities. So you need an alternative. So if this is not working, what is the alternative you can what is alternative you can jump into? So that is how it is to be. Okay, you have to find out an alternative which kind of aligns with your idea, with your ideals. For example, if you wanted to do let us say you want to get for my take my example itself. Say I wanted to be in R&D in industry. It kind of that was my first option. That was then it kind of I had a second option also that okay if that doesn't work then I have R&D in academia industry where you can do independent research and teaching. So I kind of had two options. If that didn't work, so this works. So like that you should have an opportunities. So it kind of balances both. It is not that oh I'm completely devoid of industry. That is not there because I can do my own research. What industry wants, I'm able to give that to the industry today. Okay, so that is the way you need to align your thoughts and your ideals. Let's look into some of the job opportunities for the some of these courses which I have meant. These are called as mostly applied sciences. There are many applied courses for representation purpose only. I have just mentioned this. So there are several applied sciences as well. So here, so today you can see that nanotechnology is taking over everything, right? So you can write from, if you want to see the applications here, what you have here in nanoscience field is that there are several applications and each of those is a job opportunity. So not that if you study nanotechnology, it's not that you have to only go for research. No, it is not like that. There are several industries, several pharmaceutical companies, or not only pharmaceutical companies, several food industries are also taking nanoscience into uh, they are doing a lot of research to see how they can actually make nanoscience how the nanotechnology can improve the development of the products. So like that, there is healthcare, there is environment, renewable energy. So like that, we also do. So my kind of research, I not only do about cancer, but I also do dye sensitized solar cell for renewable energy. So I have the independence. So if you want to choose an academic research career, you have an independence you have an independence to choose the kind of research you want to do. Although you align your primary goals into your primary research, which is drug delivery of nanomedicine, but I can also see how I can use nanotechnology into various applications because I'm aligning my ideas into the student interest as well. So when I talk to my students, when I talk to the students, I kind of get to see what is their interest on. So there was one student of mine who was interested to do dye sensitized solar cells. So we started working on dye sensitized solar cell. So today, the student has developed a small solar cell which works with a dye which is synthesized by pomegranate juice. Okay, so like this, there are several applications of nano. So like this, we have the freedom to choose. I can do research on any of these which is mentioned over here. Although I mainly concentrate on biomedical and healthcare and food and agriculture, I also concentrate on renewable energy and environment. So like this, you have a freedom to choose what is that you want to do. Right. So if you can see, There are several companies. So here, the starting salary itself for an assistant professor who is in nanotechnology. This is an advert which I saw yesterday. So I was just wondering why suddenly thought I should show this one. So you can see nanotechnology can be applied into biotechnology as well. So your starting salary starts about 1,30,000. Okay, so that is how nanotechnology positions are in leading, right? They have the most of the highest income. So this is from a Washington Post. So you can see that nanotechnology engineer technicians have the highest average income, right? So like this, there are several opportunities which you can align your thoughts into it. There are several companies in India who do a lot of research on nanotechnology itself. Either you can get into there as a project assistant, or like a scientist, or into any other positions what has been advertised here. So you need to start looking into those companies to see what they are trying to do. So the first way to think whether you want to do an academic industry, or whether you want to be in academia or an industry. So first thing is to, as I said, do a homework about it. See what, if you want to go into a PhD or into a postdoctoral position, let us say for MSc students, you want to do a PhD after this, how to choose a good guide. That is very important. If you have to get a good, if you want a good PhD degree, you should have a good guide. That is very important. Otherwise, your life becomes miserable, right? So what you have to do is first read about the publications of the research of the guide. You see what they have done, how they have published, and what is that they have, and publications mainly to see in what impact factor journals they have produced, not something which is a local journal and they have produced in that. No, that doesn't work. So first is that one. Second, you see, is there a funding for the PhD for the guide? So if there are a lot of grants, there will be a call for to say that yes, there is opening like this. That advertisement appears on the website. So this is if you want to do PhD. So if you want to do, now you're already, let us assume that you're already a PhD student and you want to do a postdoctoral research. How does it work? So again, you have to look into, you have to see what is your interest, and you have to see what is that you want to do. See, your PhD research can be completely different from what you are doing in your postdoctoral research. It doesn't have to be the same. Okay. So that is, if you want to do a completely different research, find out that what is that you want to do. So read the papers, read the guide, read the mentor's profile, see what their publications are. If your ideas align with that idea of the mentor, email the mentor directly. And there are some all the mentors are really good. They actually get back to you very quickly. I keep getting a lot of emails like this for a PhD position. So they immediately they get back to you and see where it aligns and take it from there. Okay, so there are several aspects like that. So if you want to get into an industry, first read the company, what the company is doing, what is that product coming out in the market, how is that, what is that R&D, what is that they're trying to do in R&D. Is it just quality assurance, or they're doing an R&D, or trying to find out something new? Find out. So most of the research, most of the industry, they don't publish a paper. It is very unlikely that they produce a paper. There are some companies which produce paper, research papers I'm talking about. So some companies might not produce because that is their confidentiality which they want to maintain. So in those cases, just see the website, talk to people who are, if you make friends. Networking is an important word here. So you network with people and see that what is that they want to do. Most of the, see, if I was in US, and most of the job opportunities, or you get into your job mainly because of networking. Okay, it is not that because I know a manager in the company I get into it. It doesn't work like that. But they also see what is it, if the industry is actually taking you, that means they are investing on you. So they expect that much output from you also. Similarly, in any companies like that, if they are giving you a job, they are investing on you. That means you are investing time and they are investing on you. So that is how industry or academia collaboration between the individuals and the company works. Okay, so you need to do a lot of search to find out which, what, where you can be placed into. So why I'm showing this is there are several companies which are already doing nanotechnology research. That is what I'm trying to project here. Second, let us see, this is biomimetics. This is a very upcoming field. So we are also doing, I'm also, because we have a dentistry, we have a dental college and a hospital within ourselves. So we try to see how biomimicry can be used into several dental applications. So you can see a very good example here. So this is what most of the people, when a cavity develops, and this is what they do when the under conventional procedures. But in a biomimetics, you can see how beautifully this has been done. So this is like a conservative dentistry where we try to restore something same as what it looks like. You don't want to be having a lot of golden teeth amongst your teeth. So that is the plan here. So this is made like a conservative dentistry. So biomimetics is a very, very upcoming field. So today you can see there are several architectural works. Biomimetics is not only for healthcare, it is for everywhere, even in architectural field also. You can see here, I have given examples how biomimetics have been used in several architectural designs. A lot of the architectural designs in Middle East countries have been biomimetics, have been taken, is an offshoot of biomimetics. Okay, so there are like several examples like this. Artificial intelligence and machine learning. This is very much coming up now. So I am also through one. I am not an expert in that, but I have collaborated with somebody where we can do artificial research and machine learning. Artificial research, what is that? So you can actually identify a new risk, for example, coronavirus. So we can actually predict using artificial intelligence. We can actually predict if there is going to be something new, similar to that one. So this is something like that, right? So we can have, so statistics, artificial intelligence, machine learning, all these work hand to hand. Statistics is a very important subject. We have made it mandatory that all the students must learn statistics. So this is where we try to do predictive analysis. So say it's a reality. It is not, I'm not telling it's only a phase, it's a predictive. It's a reality that by 2040 or by 2030, at least half of the Indian population or the Southeast Asian population is going to suffer from diabetes. So how did they actually come into this prediction model? So these are several prediction models that have been used to see how well we can actually, how well we can make the government ready for that. Okay, so we are actually giving we are predicting something using these tools. Next is bioprinting. So one another project which we are doing is on bioprinting. So we are trying to develop a lower mandible. So this is called as a lower mandible. So we have a project from government. So where we are trying to print the lower mandible. So when somebody meets with an accident, one of our PhD students, she fell over and she really broke this part. So it is very difficult to make this part, to bring it back into normal position. So what is that we want to do is bioprint. So this is a very upcoming area. I'm not saying it is very easy. One example is that there is 3D printing of your human ear. So this ear, they have actually tried to do a 3D print. So this is one thing which we are doing. So this is one of the unit which we also teach you in our Nano Science course. Okay, so bioprinting is very much upcoming now. One of the important reasons why bioprinting is very much upcoming now is because when there are several, when somebody needs an organ transplant, I mean, most of the time we don't get a suitable donor for it. So we have to either the person kind of, dies because a person did not get a suitable organ, or even if the person gets a suitable organ, there is always not that compatibility. There is always some kind of issues which your immune system actually does it. So we have this graft versus host disease where even though we try to see that the organ is exactly the same thing which is compatible, even though if we find 100% compatibility, for some reasons which the clinicians also are not aware of, the host and the graft does not don't become compatible at the last minute. There are complications because of that. So to avoid all those things, we have 3D printing. So we can actually 3D print organs. We can actually 3D print heart. It's not easy. As I said, it is not easy. So there's a lot of logistics. There's a lot of things which we need to take into consideration. But however, if you are considering this is one option for you to consider to see how you can actually improve in bioprinting. This is closely related to your stem cell research also, where bioprinting and stem cell research actually goes in hand. So we can actually make they actually make a good combination. So this is about bioprinting. Cognitive neuroscience is another important thing which is coming up. These are all, as I said, there are applied sciences. As I said, please don't mistake saying that, okay, biochemistry, molecular biology, microbiology are not subjects to study anymore. That is not the conclusion what I'm trying to make now. It is for you to see what you have to align your thoughts to what industry needs today. That is what I'm trying to say. All right. So cognitive neuroscience is another subject which is very much coming up. BSc psychology students can opt for MSc for cognitive neuroscience, wherein you have actually making there are several things what they do here. wherein they have tried to find out the learning and memory, thought consciousness, decision making, which are all the regions which are controlled in decision making, your language, everything they take into your listening perception, your lateral thinking capabilities, your shrewdness, your sharpness. There are several things which keeps happening. So as you can see, there are several research which is happening in this area also. Next is cosmetic science. Well, cosmetic science, the whole globe runs on cosmetics now, because cosmetic science market is making huge profit, huge benefit out of it. Right? Everybody wants a good skin, right? So we try to do here. When I say cosmetic science, please don't mistake that we don't teach any massaging techniques. That is not what we are trying to do here. Here we really try to teach you how to make a cream, how to make a shampoo, how to make a soap. So this is what we try to teach. We try to teach you formulations, how much combination. So if you are making a cream for dry skin or a oil based skin, what is the combination you want? If you're making a cream which is compatible for European countries, is it compatible for Indian countries? No, it is not. So that is what we are trying to do here. So this is the cosmetic science. So we have here one of my student, she actually made, so this is a patent pending, we actually made um, anti-acne cream using silver nanoparticles. Silver nanoparticle is actually antimicrobial by nature, so we have made it and we have done a patent over it. So like this, we are trying to see how, as a cosmetic science, you can be a cosmetic. If you study cosmetic science, you can be a cosmetic formulation scientist or a cosmetic chemist, or you can be in one of the regulatory bodies. What is regulatory body? Any product which has to come to the market has to go through a regulatory body, and that is what regulatory bodies. They're all called as regulatory inspectors. So you get trained to how to become a inspector to regulate how, whether to decide whether the product should come into the market or not. Quality assurance or a cosmetic scientist. Okay, so there are several opportunities like this. Agriculture farmers are the backbone of the country, not only for India, for every country, because if they are not there, we are not there. Okay, so we want to see today the major crisis today is the population, right? So in order to feed the swelling population, we need to have the same amount of turnover in terms of agricultural crops. So that is what we have to try and see how we can double the production. Previously, if you remember, or if you had visited any village or anything like that, the turnover of paddy was about 3 months, 90 days, right? Today it is not like that. Today you can get turnover within 1 month. So what is that has happened? It is just that they have done a hybrid system. So that is just they have actually made the seeds in such a way that seeds can actually produce fruits, and not like in 90 days, but much more earlier than that. So this is what technology is going. And there is hydroponics. So today we don't have to really depend. We don't have farming lands anymore because all the farmers have sold their land. So what do you want to do? So we have hydroponics, right? There is hydroponics again, its own business. It has its own marketing. So hydroponics is one of the things which you can think of, right? How you develop all these things, how nanotechnology is being inbuilt, is being utilized by agricultural sciences to produce. One of the problems with crops is pest protection. So how we can use that? So previously we had this crops, locust. We actually have read the news in last year. There was locust infestation in some of the places. So how this could be controlled? So this is what we are trying to see how we can develop therapies, measures to see how nanotechnology and agricultural sciences can be put in together, and how we can improve the crop, or how we can protect the crop system. So this is what we are trying to do. One of our colleagues has got a funding to develop a new variety of banana, right? So this is how all these things, how new developing a new variety of bananas, all these things, that is how we start to work on. Regenerative medicine. So again, as I said, regenerative medicine, this is mostly a research oriented field. So if you are interested in regenerative medicine, as I already told in your 3D bioprinting thing, so this regenerative medicine, it all nanotechnology, regenerative medicine, bioprinting, stem cell research, they all go hand in hand. So there are several companies not several companies, mainly research labs, which are actually looking into see how they can actually do a bone tissue, how they can graft a bone tissue. Why? Because as I said, particularly in this region, or not only this region, I'm giving this lower mandible as an example, because when there is a break in the lower mandible, it is very difficult for the dental surgeon to actually fix that. So that is what we do, is we try to artificially grow osteoclast in the laboratory conditions. We try to do so. This stem cell research. osteoclast, we try to see how we can make the bone cells compatible to that. So that is how regenerative medicine works. So some of the research, some of the positions what you can get in that one is as a project assistant or a PhD, you can do research, or you can do a postdoctoral research, or you can enter into stem cell research, or you can become, once you develop all these things, you can become an entrepreneur. That is how this field works. I think I have a couple of questions here, so let me look into that. There is one question: what is the process which goes on before a research paper is published? That's a very elaborate question. Let me give you an answer for that, because we have published papers, so we know how this works. So when you want to produce, so when you conceive an idea, and when you conceive an idea, we actually think of what is the end product of the idea. So it depends what is that. You want to do basic research to prove something, or you want to come up with a product development, is what we are trying to look at. If it is a product development, we directly file a patent, we directly get in touch with the industry, and we see how the industry can buy your patent, and that is how we make. So there, the question of research paper publishing is very less. But when you are producing, when you are doing a research, let's say I want to, there is one thing which my student is doing now. So we want to see the way what we have developed, we want to try and see if it works in a mouse model, right? So if you want, and we publish that paper. So even before producing a product development, you can actually publish paper, because if you just leave it for a longer time, somebody will scoop your idea. So you have to be in research, you have to be right at the tip of your foot. So when you publish it, so you will write, so as we write the paper, so as the research experiment is going on, we try, some inference will come, and we try to write everything, and it comes into a form. So we have an introduction, we write what others have done and how our thought is better. Or if you are trying to prove that, okay, this is what exactly happens in breast cancer or lung cancer or anything, we try to prove that through our experiments, and we try to put that. And when the research paper has come into one level, let us say it is like 60% ready, that is when we start thinking which journal to choose, right? Based on the quality of results, based on what we have got, mainly based on quality of results, we choose a particular paper. We shortlist few papers, and we see, okay, we submit to one. We also see the impact factor. Depending on what the results are, we try to see what is the impact factor. Recently, we published a paper in a journal called as Cancers. Okay, the impact factor is 6. Okay, so like this we choose. So we were thinking, first what we do as a researchers or as academic research scientists, what we do is we try to choose a high impact factor. Although sometimes we know that it might get rejected. When it gets rejected, don't be depressed, because it's a part and parcel of our research career. First time, yes, you will get very much rejected about it, but please don't lose heart. That is how now we are we know how it works, so we know how to navigate through that. So we first choose an impact factor journal which is a bit high, and we know that you have to read, for every journal which you have shortlisted, please read the guidelines. So there, the paper would have, the journal would have clearly stated the guidelines. Please read that. What is that they want? Right, according to what they want. Otherwise, it will be rejected, or they'll tell it is not up to the scope of the journal. Please send it to somebody else. Or if they like it, they say, okay, put it in this particular format, which most of the people don't have time. So you better read the guidelines properly. So we submit. Then we give it some time. So to say, then you get an acknowledgement saying that you have submitted your paper, and then it goes to a reviewer. There are several reviewers. Sometimes they ask us if you have choice of reviewers. Sometimes they don't ask. So if they don't ask, they are sending it to their own reviewers. Then they review, and if the reviewers give comments, it means that these are the things which are lacking in your research, which you need to address. So the reviewer can either give a straightforward answer saying that paper is rejected, or the reviewer saying that, okay, let's give them the chance, and they resubmit it. So I had another example of that. We published one paper in Molecules. It got very badly criticized 2 times. They accepted it. They accepted the paper, but the reviewers kept on asking so too many questions. This is not correct. That is not correct. They keep on asking you. Finally, it is all published. So this is where it took almost 8 months for us to publish in that paper. So Molecules is a very good impact factor. It is an impact factor, I think 3 or 3.5. I can't remember exactly. So that is how it is. Okay. So that is how a research paper is published. Now we are targeting one journal called as Biomaterials. The impact factor is 10. So if I have to target an impact factor 10, I need to have so much amount of data, the quality data which is required to publish, which is required to get into that journal. So we are focusing, we are actually streamlining to work on an impact factor which is 10. So it is important that you choose which is a journal which you want to publish, and you do your research according to that. At least, as I said, when you have finished your manuscript, let us say, for example, another paper which we are targeting is Journal of Biological Chemistry. Again, it's a very good one. So that is how we have, when we come up with an idea, we also think about, okay, this can go in this journal. So that is how we actually visualize and we imagine, that according to that we do the research and we publish papers. Okay, I hope I have answered that question. Second one, what are the research opportunities for someone who is interested in chemistry and physics? I'm going to come to that slide. Physics, there are several applied physics, so I can't remember if I have physics slides in that one, but chemistry, yes, I have. In a couple of slides from now, you'll be learning what job opportunities a chemist can have. Does one need computer programming skills to work in these fields? So these fields is open. So if you could be more specific, if I'm right, you are thinking about machine learning and artificial intelligence. Yeah, it is advisable to have programming skills. But if you take up a course, I think the course is inbuilt that you have programming skills in that one. So that is how, because I know somebody who is having. We have bioinformatics, and they have one complete whole paper, one whole module which is completely linked to programming skills. We teach them R program, we teach them MATLAB, etc. So I think that is inbuilt in the syllabus. What are the research opportunities in the field of astronomy? Wow, that is, well, I think you have to read physics about it. I'm not very sure about astronomy, but I think you need a lot of physics skills in that. That's what I would assume. Which option is better, studying abroad or getting research opportunities there, or come back immediately after completion of education? I am an example of that. Which option is better? Yes, you can study abroad, get the skills, come back always. Because one thing, you're contributing to your Indian society itself. That is one. I'm not saying that, okay, if you're in abroad, you're not contributing towards something. That is a different thing. But learn the skills from them, right? I'll tell you one example of myself. We Indians are very hardworking, no doubt about it, right? We work all 6 days when we are abroad. This is one example what I have seen, and that is how I learned it. There is a lot of difference between working hard and working smart. Okay, we work hard, no doubt about it. We work all 7 days. We skip our lunch. We work Sunday, Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, everything we work, but the productivity is not up to the mark. If you were to scale it, it is in a scale of 1 to 10. The productivity is just 5.5 or 4 or 6. Again, depends on individual. But if you were to see the West, how the West works, here I'm not telling which country or which this one, but I'm just keeping it a blanket statement. If you were to see their productivity, I was in Germany also. I was in Germany, Max Planck. So there you can see they only work from Monday to Friday. Okay, their productivity is almost like 80%. How is this possible? Okay, Friday by 3 o'clock they're getting ready to go home, right? So that is how. So we have to really differentiate between what is that we are trying, what is that we are doing wrong. What I see in our students here is that we repeat the experiment several times. Somewhere where there is still a mistake, it does not work. Why that mistake is happening? If you do, okay, doing a mistake one time in an experiment as a PhD student is allowed, but repeatedly doing that same mistake is not allowed. That means you're not concentrating on what you're doing. So that is how your productivity jeopardizes. All right. You need to be, as I said, you need to be at the tip of it. If I ask you to do a presentation, you must also you should be, as a PhD student, I would expect that you should also know what in your field other four or five people have done across the world. So that is how your productivity improves. You have to tell me what is a different you can do, not the same thing. Oh, this they have done, I'm trying to do the same thing. Is nothing novel. So this is how we try to see how we still lack in doing smart working. We still lack that. That's what I have seen that. So as I said, so this is where we need to really catch up. Otherwise, India is a great place to work with. Okay, right. Next one. What are the options to embark on if they are not interested in research after their masters? Fine. As I said, You don't have to do. PhD is not by compulsion. Again, I'm telling you, because PhD is very much dedication. A lot of dedication is involved in that. We don't compel. I'll never compel my students, say, hey, come on, do PhD. You finish masters, do PhD with me. Doing PhD comes from within. You have to take a call. Okay, you take a call and you say there is no compulsion that you must do a PhD. However, if you want to get into R&D, or if you want to get into academia later on, according to UGC rules, a PhD degree is a must. What are the options? Okay, that's I finished. What are the advantages of doing postdoctoral studies? Right, experience. Right, PhD generally is not. PhD is something which you do. A guide is there, they mentor you. Postdoctoral studies, you are by yourself. Okay, that is where you fine tune your research skills, and postdoctoral studies is a stepping stone for independent academic career. Right, so that is the reason you have to do postdoctoral studies. You know how to align your thoughts to take up to embark into academic research career. So that is how. See, in academic career, when you are starting, your time starts to tick. Okay, you have to bring in grants. Okay, so there is a lot of pressure on you, so you need to cope with that. So that is how your postdoctoral research kind of molds you towards academic research career, to become an independent, to become, it makes you to become independent researcher in academic field. What are the opportunities for PhD bioinformatics and genetics? You can get into industries where they do a lot of like systems biology industries. Genetics, yes, there is research you can do. If you are particularly interested in research, you can do a PhD in genetics. Also in bioinformatics also, there are several companies, they do. I had one of my colleague in Johns Hopkins who has opened the Institute of Bioinformatics in Bangalore. He's a very smart guy, right? So like that, so it's a company, he does research there, but he operates company here in bioinformatics. So there are several opportunities. As I said, it is, science subjects have limitless opportunities. You imagine it, as I said, you can also become, if you want to become, if you think that, okay, I want to start my own company, go for it. All you need to be is, you need to tune, you need to align your thoughts into it, really work for it, focus. As I said, focusing is an important word in whichever career you want to get into. Right. So geoinformatics, as I said, geoinformatics is also a very upcoming field. How geoinformatics and precision farming is actually becoming very, very common. As I said, today we don't have enough farming lands. So with whatever farming lands is there, we need to get the productivity. We can't say that, okay, farming land was there, we grew the crops, the crops failed. No, there is no option like that. We don't need to have any more options like that, because we have a lot of technologies improving in that field. So that is geoinformatics. There is healthcare geoinformatics also, which you can, there are several mapping techniques in that. I am combining with one of my geoinformatics colleague to see how we can do nanotechnology with precision farming in geoinformatics. Okay, it all just needs a thought. You need to have, you need to keep abreast, you need to read, you basically show interest in everything, right? It is just something new comes out in the news, we try to see how is it working. Right, today I heard something new, so we want to see how that thing works. That is how we try to be more inquisitive. Okay, inquisitive for good reason, not for bad reason. We can be inquisitive even for bad reason, so I'm not talking about that. Chemistry. So this should answer the question in the chat box. Chemistry related degree can have you can have in manufacturing or in pharmaceuticals or in petrochemicals. There is something also called as surface chemistry, is also combined with nanotechnology, and you have nano surface colloidal chemistry, right? You have several people. We are actually collaborating with one of the organic chemists who is trying to do a nano catalyst reactions. Okay, we are using a catalyst at a nano level to see how we can fast progress with that reaction. So this is the option for chemistry based graduates. Other considerations while you are studying is that please make opportunity, please, in whichever university you are, please make the most of it. Please earn your degree. That is very, very important. This is the time which gives you a lot of, this is the time you need to be very fast. You need to be what to say, right at the tip. If a teacher tells you do this homework, you should be ahead of thinking that, okay, look, I did this one and I also found out something similar to this. Can you help me with that? Okay, I'm not telling you all the teachers will know everything. That is highly impossible. But I'm sure most of the teachers are very well trained to actually meet the needs of the students. So this is where what I do in my teaching is, in my class, my teaching is only like 40 minutes. The 20 minutes is for the interaction. And most importantly, I give the PowerPoint slides 24 hours prior, or at least 48 hours prior my class. And on the day of the class, on the time of the class, we have a discussion. It is not that I stand and teach. So this is very important. Okay, this is how you improve. So that the student goes home, does a research, they say, okay, this is what this teacher has asked. Let me do some research. Let me learn something about it. So this is how learning actually works. It has to be more of a kinesthetic learning. So far, it has been what we have done. If you were to look at the pedagogical skills, it has been always didactic. The teacher only talks, the student just listens. Whether it's going into the head or above the head, nobody cares about it. Okay, it shouldn't be like that. Here, as a teacher, particularly, I'm talking about myself. I see the interest of the student. I see what the student likes, and I give him or her the same kind of project where the interest lies. So that becomes kinesthetic learning. Okay. So wherever possible, please go to an internship and to gain and hands-off experience. I'm sure at your master's level program you have a project dissertation. Here I get students from most of the, not only from our institute, from outside other institutes as well. So I take students and they come here to learn what are the different hands-on techniques they can learn. Okay, so that is important. That is, as I said, during your master's degree project or dissertation, align your thoughts. Align your thoughts to see what the industry say tomorrow. You are reading about some petrochemical industries. Let us say, as a chemistry student, you are reading, okay, this is what the company is making. This is what the pharmaceutical company is making. They are trying. Let us assume that they are trying to make an API, active pharmaceutical ingredient, which means there's a lot of chemistry involved in it. You can see how you can align your thought into it and say, I want to do a project like this. It should be useful for you to apply, to see that, okay, what is the opportunity that I can get into that industry. Okay, so this is how you kind of align your thoughts, thoughts or the project work, anything related to what industry is trying to acquire, industries are looking for. When as teachers, when we make the syllabus, we also see what the industry also looking for. Okay, that is how we also make the syllabus. We just don't close our eyes and say, okay, I want the student to study all these things. No, it doesn't work like that. We try to see what is that industry is wanting for, and we try to align the syllabus in such a way. We make modules in such a way that it is useful for the industry. Okay, that is how most of the companies come to you to do campus interviews. Right, PhD degree. So this is one of the little thing I have shown you. This is one of my favorite things. Okay, right? When you are doing PhD, as I said, you can say I'll go from the bottom: physically training and emotionally challenging. Yes, I'm not telling that PhD is never easy. As I said, it is physically draining and emotionally challenging. You might be like this for years together. You only see a small thing coming up the soil, but you have generated so many things. This is one of the important. This is my favorite picture, which I keep. So whenever I feel that why the results are not coming, all the results, what I am doing, it is forming a basis for a bigger thing. Okay, so never lose hope. First thing is never give up. Second lesson is never forget the first one. Okay, the two rules in life. The first one is never give up. Second one is never forget rule number one. All right, because it's been same thing for me. It's not been very easy for me. Right, I have been rejected in several places, despite getting interviewed for twice. Despite once it was in person and once it was in online via Skype, they rejected me. So there are several reasons. So don't lose hope. Keep on trying. Okay. See, one thing what I keep telling myself is my name is Asha. Asha means hope. Okay. So hope cannot lose hope. So that is what I keep telling myself. So never lose hope. Right? Why you should consider doing a PhD? So it is for career, your own career and personality development. You become more into it. You become more, what to say, you go very deep into the subject. You develop new skills. You bring in new products. Okay. And you refine yourself, and it is intellectually challenging. You grow inwardly, mentally you grow. So it's not that, well, physically you get a six digit salary. That's a different thing. But mentally it is very challenging, and you grow inward. All right. All of these things requires what? Good communication skills. So communication skills, time management skills, we don't have a separate session for this, because these are daily skills. These are daily skills. Keeping up the time is daily skill. You cannot say to, I have classes at 8 o'clock, Yes, the student should know that the student has to be here by 7:55. So it is a daily skill. So you're coming, you're making up the time for it. So these are all daily skills. Knowledge of the technology, these are all survival skills. Knowledge of natural resources, analytical skills, problem solving, lateral thinking, communication. These are all daily skills. It is not that once in a while we practice that, or management skills. How do you manage your time? We are almost every day, we almost work 12 to 16 hours a day because we have deadlines, several deadlines, mainly because of grant applications, several deadlines because we have to submit a book chapter. My book chapter is pending, which I have not looked into. The book chapter, you have to submit a book chapter, you have to publish a paper, you have to write a grant, you have to teach, you have to mentor the student, you have to mentor the PhD student. I have 7 PhD students and I am a co-guide for 5 of them. So altogether I have about 11 or 12 behind me, right? So you have to make time. So this is time management, as I said, is a daily skill. You don't need separate, there is no separate tutorials for that. So it just comes by itself. Very important. So if your dreams don't scare you, then they are very small. Okay, so you better have, as MSc or a BSc students, align your thoughts into it. Finalize today that you have to, after this talk, your take home message, remember this, you must decide now that what you want to do. It is not that tomorrow, it is not, or the day after tomorrow, or please don't wait that, okay, come on, do this. No, we are not waiting for that. Okay, you take an initiative. You are, as I said, you are the navigator of your own personal life. All right, you decide. And by now, I think all of you are matured enough to take that decision and not get influenced by what you or your friend is doing, or what. If your parents say, hey, what is the option for this? You want to study this? What's an option? You explain to them. They might not be knowing. Okay, so explain to them that this is what it is. My parents never helped me. Okay, unfortunately, they never had a chance to study. Okay, so that's most of, I think, generation people with my generation have the same kind of parents because they don't know anything, right? So you have to try to explain, hey, look, this is what I want to do, this is where my heart is. Okay, so that's what you try to explain to them. Don't be angry with them. So this is what you have to chase your dream right from now. So that is how it works, right? Focus, as I said, focus is very important, right? Whatever career you choose, focusing is very important. You need to compete with yourself first, never compete with others first, because that will deviate from what your path is. You compete with yourself. Once you have stabilized, once you know that once you have created your own niche, then you are ready to compete. And that too, it's a healthy competition. Okay, don't say, hey, what you are doing is not correct, what I am doing is only correct. No, it's not. That's not our cup of tea. Okay, so healthy competition is always encouraged. I hope I have made the point. If you have any questions, I'm open to take that. And I hope I've finished on time. Any questions?
Thank you, ma'am, for your insightful session. I'm sure the students and the audience would have earned an extensive amount of knowledge from your presentation. And thank you, ma'am, for answering the questions of the audience.
If there are any more, I can take.
Sure, ma'am. So, ma'am, there's one lined up. That is, what are the career opportunities in forestry?
Forestry, okay. Today, forest almost, see, we have something called as environmental protection. So we have one module wherein we teach the students how to. Today, see, we don't have even forests. All the forest lands are being they've been destroyed, and animals are coming into the cities. So I would think that, I'm not very sure about a forestry, but I would think that they would be seeing that disaster management is another thing. Disaster management is another upcoming field. So most of the times we see that all the climatic changes now are all changing everywhere, and we recently saw that glacier outburst. So that is why disaster management. So during that glacier outburst, everything in the way was actually destroyed. So we try to see using for disaster management how to protect all these things. So I think that is one of the things which environmental science would be really concerned, and they would be able to answer this better. I'm not very much sure about forestry part of it.
Okay, ma'am, thank you so much. Another question that we have lined up is it better to do a PhD in India or in US?
As I said, choose a good guide, whether it is India or abroad? Well, US is now a very big question. Funding is, in fact, not only US, going abroad is very big question now, because after this post-corona thing, everything is kind of, so if you want to do postdoctoral studies abroad, find out if the mentor there has a funding for you. And okay, so you go there and figure out that the funding is not there, it becomes very miserable, right? So find out if you want to do it abroad, find out if the guide, talk to the guide from here itself before you going there and figuring out, cutting a sorry figure will not be good. So find out if the mentor has some kind of funding and for how many years. So as a postdoctoral is something which is never ending. If the mentor has continuous funding, yeah, good, you can be a postdoc for your life, but don't do that. It will kind of saturate you. You'll not be able to think out of the box. So at some point after your postdoctoral research, I wanted to do postdoctoral research exactly for two years, but anyhow, it became 2.5 years. That's the thing. Well, the work did not get over, so I did for 2.5 years. But otherwise, you'll lose focus. Some of my friends, when I was doing postdoctoral position in the US, are still postdocs. All right, they are still postdocs. So you need to put a full stop to say where you want to cut off the postdoc and come into independent research career. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Due to time constraints, we won't be able to take up any more questions from the audience, but we definitely appreciate your active participation in the session. Thank you, ma'am, for answering all the queries of the audience.
Thank you so much. Thank you for giving this opportunity. I hope I have justified why a career in science is limitless opportunity.
James Allen once said, and I quote, "No duty is more urgent than giving thanks." I would like to express my profound gratitude to everyone who has contributed to make this event a successful one. On behalf of the University Student Council and the management of Christ Deemed to be University, I take this opportunity to thank our keynote speaker, Dr. Asha Srinivasan, for taking time out of her busy schedule and gracing us with her presence and enlightening us with her deep-rooted knowledge in her field of expertise. I would like to thank the Controller of Examination and Director of Student Council, Professor Johnny Joseph Sir, who has always inspired and encouraged us. My heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Suja Mol John Ma'am and Dr. Roy Matthew Sir and all the faculty coordinators for their continuous guidance and support. I would like to acknowledge and appreciate the efforts of my fellow University Student Council members who are part of the events, technical, logistics committee for their consistent support, without which the smooth conduct of this event would not have been possible. Last but not the least, I thank all the Christites present and all the external participants for joining us and for being such a wonderful and participative audience.